All right, Internet. Okay, so saw Dunkirk and Damn Kirk. It's it's pretty awesome. It is pretty awesome. I w- here's everything, and I do you should definitely go see Dunkirk. Here's some things you should probably be aware of before you go see Dunkirk. Thing number one, be prepared for it to be super British. And I don't just mean the fact that most of the characters are British and that part of the movie takes place in Britain and that it's very British centric theme wise. I mean, be prepared for what is essentially a British drama. What does that mean? Essentially, there is no unnecessary dialogue. Almost all dialogue. We here in America love dialogue. One might say we are almost addicted to dialogue. We love we love quotes and lines that we can repeat and they're catchy. We are definitely obsessed with dialogue here in America. British drama is very comfortable with people not saying shit for long periods of time, and telling stories completely visually. Um, So be prepared for the fact that, don't get me wrong, there's lots of dialogue. People talk, but compared to an American movie, it's extremely British. And there's lots of parts where if you're not paying attention and actually watching what is happening, you may not catch on to some of the character stuff or some of the things that are happening in the story because it's extremely British. But just be prepared for that. Don't go in expecting there to be tons of dialogue. Some people, a lot of people, absorb a lot of their movie and story through dialogue. So be prepared for this to be visual, because a lot of it's going to be visual. Um, yeah, I just warn you because a lot of American audiences are, I would say, almost addicted to dialogue. In fact, many storytellers in America have sort of risen above their actual storytelling abilities and popularity because they're good at dialogue. Joss Whedon! Joss Whedon! Uh, I hope someone gets mad. I I like Joss Whedon. Chill out. Um, but anyways, back to the movie. Um, the other thing that you as an audience member are going to want to be prepared for Dunkirk is this. It is not told in a linear fashion. There are essentially three different timelines going on at the same time. Well, sort of. They're all technically part of the same like timeline, sort of. Essentially, the movie focuses on about four different groups of people. There are the soldiers on the beach, and technically, the soldiers on the beach breaks up into basically two groups, which is the officers on the beach and the soldiers on the beach. And we sort of follow them. They start out together, and then like their stories sort of diverge. Um, and essentially, that the story on the beach starts 1 week before the rescue, which is intense if you actually think about it while you're watching the movie. They're on that beach for a week before they actually get rescued. Um, so, so that storyline starts out at 1 week before the rescue at Dunkirk. Then the second group is some civilians on a boat going to Dunkirk to try and save soldiers, and their timeline starts 1 day before the rescue. So they're like 24 hours before the rescue. The other set is pilots who are sent for support for the rescue to basically try and take out fighter planes. This, of course, is where Tom Hardy comes in as one of the pilots. And their timeline starts 1 hour before the beach. So just to give you a heads up on that. Because as the movie progresses, their timelines start to merge. And if you pay attention, you will pick up elements of different things as they start to connect. Which for me, in the way my brain works, is super cool. That being said, not everyone's brain is really up for that. And I'm not calling people stupid if you don't follow the timelines. I'm just saying some people's thought process is just a little bit more linear than other people's. And that's not I'm not trying to insult anyone if you didn't follow this movie. I'm just giving you a heads up to be prepared for that. And if it helps at all, I've explained exactly what the timelines are. Um, so yeah, the movie itself is intense. I was on the edge of my seat pretty much the whole time. Except for the times I had to get up to go to the bathroom. Also, don't drink a lot of coffee on a day before you go to see a movie. You will have to get up and pee at least twice. So just life advice: don't drink too much coffee before going to see movies. Um, so yes, the movie. I was on the edge of my seat. I loved absolutely every single minute of what I was watching. I thought the performances were great. God, I love Tom Hardy. I love Tom Hardy in pretty much everything. Um, Even that kid Harry Styles, who's apparently from One Direction or some shit that I don't care about at all. He did a fine job. Um, or at least the kid who I'm assuming is Harry Styles did a fine job. There were a bunch of kids really who could have been. I don't know who the fuck Harry Styles is really. Uh, if I'm being completely honest. But judging by the fact that everyone in the movie did a good job, I assume he did a good job. Um, but yeah, so it's just it's also a movie worth seeing in theaters. Partly in and this is gonna sound weird, but partly because it doesn't have a ton of unnecessary dialogue. I think it is better to watch in theaters instead of at home where you might be distracted by doing something else. It's a movie that you want to sit down and give it your full attention. Um, it's just that kind of movie. All right. I give Dunkirk a 9. It's really good. It's just a stellar film. Tons of great act. It's got tons of great action. It's gorgeously shot. I like the non-linear storytelling. I love connecting the dots as they start to merge. I love that stuff. Some people complained that they felt like it was not exactly a very emotional film. And I got to be real, I don't know what movie those people were watching. I really don't. Because there were actually a couple parts of the movie that hit me right in the feels. So I'm not exactly sure what movie those people were watching, but I thought I thought the emotions of the film were good. I really do. It touched me. Um, So we're going to talk about. So I give Dunkirk a 9. You should definitely go see it. Before I go to some brief spoilers, please like, subscribe, share, comment. Especially if you're mad I made fun of Joss Whedon. Definitely let me know you hate that. I don't care. Let me see that rage. Come on, nerds. I'm asking for trouble. But um, I definitely recommend Dunkirk. It's not my most favorite Christopher Nolan movie ever, but it's damn good, and it's a good little World War II flick. It tells a cool story about a thing that actually happened, and I normally hate true stories. Don't ask me why. But yeah, give it a 9. Definitely go see it. Like, subscribe, comment, etc. All right, now we're going to briefly talk about spoilers. So, 3, 2, 1, spoilers. Killian Murphy is in the film, and he plays a pilot who's, I'm not a pilot, I'm sorry. He plays a sailor whose ship gets torpedoed and he escapes. And I enjoyed his part in the movie because there was a lot of interesting stuff that went into his part. First of all, he's deeply traumatized, and the civilians who pick him up on the boat are taking him to the beach, and he does not want to go to the beach. So he's freaking out about it. And what ends up happening is he actually freaks out and knocks a 17-year-old boy down the stairs. 17-year-old boy hits his head and goes blind, um, and actually eventually dies. And this is actually the part where I got the feels. There's a part after the boy has the head injury where he's talking to, and I was not entirely certain if this character was his brother or his friend, but he's talking to him in the boat and essentially talking to him about how he just wanted to do something. He just wanted to contribute. He just was hoping maybe he'd get his name in the paper. Maybe he'd be a hero. Maybe he would have accomplished something. And now here he is lying with this head injury, and he seems to know, like he seems confident that he's gonna die. And he's like, I haven't done anything. And at the end of the film, this is the part that got me in the feels. That boy was either his friend or his brother. I'll be honest, I don't know. I should. I missed it somehow. Like I said, there's not a ton of unnecessary dialogue. One of the last things he does in the film is he goes and he gets the kid's name in the paper where it says he died a hero. And that really got me. I thought that was a really great moment. And I also think it's interesting that they lie to Cillian Murphy about the kid dying. Like Cillian Murphy asks if the kid is okay, and who I assume is his older brother, takes a moment, and even though he's angry about what happened, and he could unleash that guilt on Cillian Murphy's character, he tells him he's going to be okay, even though he's already dead. And there's just lots of heartfelt. There's like lots of stuff like that. Cillian Murphy's character is also interesting because in one of the nonlinear parts, we see him basically, who I think is Harry Styles' character. Basically, Harry Styles' character wants to get on his boat to escape another boat that just sank, and he's like, "No, this boat's already full." And then they go and they get on that ship. The interesting thing about that is, by rejecting Harry Styles at that point, he actually saves his life because Cillian Murphy's the only survivor of the ship that he's on later that sinks, that he's rescued from. Tom Hardy, that beautiful son of a bitch. Tom Hardy is one of the most suspenseful and heroic parts about the movie. He's one of the pilots who's coming to save the day, and the whole thing is that the pilots are tracking their fuel. They're supposed to keep enough fuel to try and get back, but he doesn't. And you pretty much know they're fucked because they waste a lot of fuel fighting Nazis and in the air. These dogfights are pretty great, by the way. And at a certain point, you realize they have 15 gallons when they started with 70. So they're not getting back in those planes. And he like makes peace with that. It's pretty great. His story ends a little bit sad. He doesn't die, but his story ends a little bit sad, but also noble. See if there's anything else I really wanted to comment on. Honestly, I liked pretty much everything about Dunkirk. I understand that it would not be everyone's cup of tea. Like I said, very British. That non-linear thing's not going to work for everybody. But honestly, I recommend Dunkirk. You should definitely see it if you haven't already. If you've already seen it, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comments section. I'd love to hear them. All right. Like I said, like, subscribe, share. Y'all have a great day or evening. I don't know when you're watching this. Get the fuck out of here. Oh, and thank you for watching.